I was disruptive. Oh, I'm unproductive. I'm unfocused.
Yeah.
Like that became my messaging to myself. Ugh. And so now I'm like, heck yes, I'm unproductive. Watch me like goof off and like hike in the woods and pick up leaves.
In this episode, we will talk about finding your inner dragon, being your radically authentic self, and the art of just being and not doing. We'll dive right into Wave Melon's courageous story and how she navigated through everything in her life and just kept fighting until where she is now. Be sure to listen in for all the details. Hello, my wonderful beasties. It's Tina, your host. Welcome to the Courageous Inner Beast, the place where you get charged up with courage by calling in your inner beast. Today we have Wave Melon. Hi, Wave. Please introduce
Hi. Hi Tina and hi beasties. Fellow beasties. Yes.
Yeah, they're my beasties.
I love it.
Can you please introduce yourself and like what just more a little bit more about you right now?
Sure. Yeah. I'm a badass financial coach and I'm also just a vibrant and alive beastie. I'm so excited to be here. I basically today I want to talk about being a total weirdo and how that is just serving me now and how it's serving others. And so yeah, and how merging the two, like why is a financial coach who loves unicorns and sparkles involved in money? So I'm just so excited to share that.
And that is a great segue of like going into like sharing your courageous story. So please share it because I want to hear more about it and just like be here, chime in and everything. I'm excited.
Very cool. Yeah, Tina, I love what you guys do here. And so it all began. No, I think today I I think people will resonate with this because I ultimately learned a major piece of this whole pie. And I'll share that with you guys a little later. So I grew up a really vibrant free spirit. When you're some of us got that freedom to be a little weird, a little free when we were super young.
Yeah.
And I remember it so vividly. And at some time around school, when I started going to preschool, it
Mm-hmm.
became very clear that being a free spirit was not the name of the game.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, now you have to sit, now you have to listen, now you have to do this. And apparently I was unfocused, I was disruptive,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea why. I just felt like I was being my truest self, but I was always in trouble. I was in these like forced timeouts. I was made to be alone in rooms for endless hours because I was disrupting everyone. And it just,
And it wasn't like on purpose or anything, trying to like, yeah, it's just like you're just being yourself, right?
yeah, I had no idea what everyone was talking about. I just, I was like, it was this messaging though. I was not fitting into the boxes that adults were expecting.
Yeah.
And that included a lot of things, the way I wanted to dress, the way I wanted to be,
Really, even dressing too. So
even
like,
just something simple like dressing. I apparently that's a big deal.
and
It's like,
I'm assuming it's not even an appropriate thing. It's just free spirited kind of dressing, right?
yeah, just like however you want. Like probably like I assume all kids just want to it's Halloween every day, right?
Yeah.
And so I experienced this messaging often and early,
Yeah.
and it followed me through to middle school where I just felt different and I didn't quite know why,
Yeah.
and I felt super trapped by it. And so I was around 10, I think, and I was diagnosed with ADD. And this was before it was even a thing. It like now it's a pretty big popular buzzword. There weren't even doctors for it. We
Mhm.
had to search far and wide for a doctor.
Yeah.
and there weren't even medications for it. And I honestly had no idea what was going on. Before I knew it, I was being put on medication.
Yeah.
And I know it's not about the medication, it's just still about the messaging. Like, hey, you're not fitting in. You're
Yeah.
not making sense to everyone. You're
Mm-hmm.
unfocused. You're impulsive. You're unproductive, God forbid. And I guess it just started to occur to me, like, after all these years, like, okay, I've got to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't want, like, I need to start fitting in.
Yeah. And then how did,
So this journey is just like, one of those ones where the messaging becomes internalized.
yeah. And how long did you like, so was it when you were like 10 years old? And then how long were you fitting in until you're like, fuck that, I don't want to be this anymore? Or
Definitely.
or is it still ongoing now?
Yeah,
I
what,
wasn't
like,
making
have I fit in ever? Am I there yet? No, totally, Tina. I get you. It's like what like yeah, I guess what I'm thinking here is I think there's a way to bridge that gap.
yeah,
And so being how do you embrace your inner weird? So this might be a
right.
good time for me to talk about. I was thinking about like my inner beast because
Yeah.
of your podcast, and I was thinking, wow, I feel like the inner dragon just really represents where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's fiery, she has a glowing belly of passion, and she has a fire breath.
It's like fire
Like, and this
everywhere.
is like the beast unleashed. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a point, I started hiding my medications. I would tape them in my journal
Mm-hmm.
in high school, and I just started playing the game.
Yeah.
So I it's called masking typically now, where you pretty
Yeah.
much pretend that you're neurotypical.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I really got away with it, but I was able to function. Like, I was able to get good grades and like look like I was succeeding and go to college. And once I graduated college, you're supposed to do the things. You like go to high school and college, and then you get a job, and then maybe like a house with a picket fence or something. And I this became a soul crushing adventure for me. I just I felt like everyone else knew what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still masking. I was totally faking. I'm like, yeah, this is what we do in life. Um,
Uh, I
and
mean, even as you're talking about, I get the energy of you is like drained. I'm like, I don't want this. Like, this is
no,
not me. Why do I have to go through this? Oh my goodness.
totally like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a sinking feeling. And it did sink. I felt as alone and isolated as I could handle.
Mm.
And I think that there was a turning point for me. I ended up selling everything, quitting my job, and I moved to Costa Rica for a year and was a farmer.
Oh,
Because like I didn't even know what to do anymore. I was just feeling like I can't live my whole life like this with crushing bosses and just toxic workplaces and
yeah.
working forever, at places that didn't make me feel good. So that that shift moving to Costa Rica, it was freeing.
I love
I
that.
realized you could live however you wanted.
Hell yeah. Like if you want to dye your hair, you want to cut your hair, go to Costa Rica, go to Europe, where you want to do,
Yeah.
move and just have a
Yeah. Oh
dog,
my
a
gosh.
cat,
I
whatever you want.
totally didn't eat, pray, love. You're right. Like,
You
just
did.
go for it. Like, I needed that kind of revolution. So yeah. And yeah, like a whole wild adventure ensued. And and granted, here I am now. I probably have, what people would consider the white picket fence. Like, I like to just water my garden and drink my coffee. But the whole point of all this was I wanted to be wild and free, right? My
Mhm.
inner beast, my dragon was like she needed to be unleashed.
Yeah. And this whole time she was tamed to be small to
so
be.
small and fit in boxes and
Yeah.
you know the internalized messaging. So now I started to believing that I was too much. I
Oh,
was disruptive.
mhm.
Oh, I'm unproductive. I'm unfocused.
Yeah.
Like that became my messaging to myself.
Yeah.
Ugh. And so
Uh,
now I'm like, heck yes, I'm unproductive. Watch me like goof off and like hike in the woods and pick up leaves.
yeah.
Heck yes, I can be unfocused and have all these different hobbies and
Yeah.
just embracing those sides of me that like were seen as wrong, but now they're so right.
Yeah. And then also like, excuse me, we can choose if we feel sort of like if you like you said, embracing the yeah, being unproductive, being however it is, and you can choose to be wherever you want, and then you're happy doing that, that's fine. Just do you. And
Yeah,
just
do you?
yeah, and like I totally believe that because sometimes I have that feeling of like, oh, I should not be doing. Sometimes when you said that part of like, am I being too much? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's like, yes, I feel that sometimes too, where I feel like, oh, I'm being too much. I was like, and a part of me was like, Tina, shut up. I'm like, don't tell yourself to like you're too much.
Yeah,
Whoever wants to be in your life, if they love you for who you are, they'll be in your life. And then
yeah.
I don't know what my accent, I don't know where that came from. But
I love it because
yeah,
yeah, it's cool. Like it's related, right?
yeah,
To
because
how yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's related to how we feel about ourselves, like our whole history.
Yeah.
We are a lot of us are incentivized to be productive, to be one way,
Mm-hmm.
to not to be smaller.
Yes.
And so there does become a moment where you're like, am I too much? Am I this? Man, I think that phrase like put on your sunglasses because I'm about to shine so bright. I think that's
Oh, I love that.
I can't remember if it's Lisa somebody, but her concept is so beautiful.
Oh,
Um
I love that. It's yeah. And it's like you're like there's no words. I can't even say anything because it's just I
yeah.
love that. It's like,
Yeah, just
oh my
I
goodness.
I I wonder too though, like the thing that kind of hit me
Hmm.
is I thought I was alone in feeling weird and different.
Yeah.
But Tina, tell me what you think. Did you feel alone and different
As
growing
we're
up?
growing up, hell yeah. I think I've been
Yeah.
like I've been told to calm down, told to like I'm like really weird. Like my emotions could go up and down and sideways. So I go I have like a whole fucking hexagon circle, like it'll go
Yes.
everywhere and anywhere. And it's like literally I could change my like right now my energy is so high, but the moment I can just like I'm good. And then like it is it's like I can totally switch over.
See? Exactly.
Yeah,
It's just
it's
like
like
I think
mm,
everyone feels weird and isolated. And
mhm,
this was just like the monumental moment for me. Like I thought that this was my experience, but I really feel now this is how we all feel. And once that piece kind of clicked, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I need to be so radically myself to give everyone else permission to do so too and
yeah.
just unleash my inner dragon and go for it." And so
Yeah.
this is where I'm at now and I'm just so in love with sharing this messaging cuz right now as a financial coach, my goal is to show women and people of my other communities that finances sound so boring, but we can
Yeah.
totally make this weird and fun. And
Yeah.
a lot of us feel I've noticed a lot of people that I've met feel the most isolated with their finances
Mhm.
and the most isolated in like living out their best life, living their dreams. And these are just intertwined.
Yeah.
So when I realized that I was not living my dream life, that I was stuck, that I was not living wild and free, I was on a discovery, like, how do I do that though? And one of the biggest subjects there was money. And I just
Mm.
couldn't imagine. I was like, how is it that money, the most boring topic in the whole world, was the one topic that I needed to like get going? I need to
Yeah.
get my shit together, basically. And so that's my journey. I started learning. I had some coaching from a friend for financing, and I've just fallen madly in love with it because I think it unlocks a
Mm-hmm.
lot for all of us. And a lot of us women, and me, my version is I got Barbies and not Legos.
Mm.
And I got education on X and no financial, personal finance conversations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so many women experience that. And
Yeah.
I'm just so excited to kind of merge this idea, like, how do we be wild and free? How do we embrace our inner dragon and fire belly and fire breath and
Everything.
be so weird and so wild? And how do we get there? So,
Yes.
yeah.
And I remember that our conversation before, like something what you said, like we don't like we were mentioning when you were talking about like isolation and like doing things alone and like self-care. I remember I just this piece was like, why do you have to do self-care? Like why do we have to do this alone? There's so many of us that we can just come together and work on this together. I think something about like,
Yeah, isn't
yeah,
that, yeah, I'm like a I've always considered myself a super fan of like self-care.
yeah.
It sounds so good, but I think when it comes to feeling isolated or alone,
Hmm.
most people with money, and me too, my experience was guilt, shame, and embarrassment.
Yeah.
And when I was $30,000 in debt,
Mm, 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 mm.
I wasn't telling anybody. Like, I was embarrassed about what I'd spent it on. I was
Yeah.
guilty and shameful that I didn't know how to manage anything. I didn't want to.
Makes
um,
sense.
and so instead of self-care, I'm a proponent of radical community care.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like,
And like, most, like, you shouldn't wake up with this pressure that you feel you're the only one.
mhm.
Or go to bed, and like, if you've ever laid in bed like this with your eyes like wide open, you're like, oh my gosh, I cannot sleep, and all those concerns and worries, and we're all doing it alone. And
Yeah.
it's time to tell your best friend what's going on. It's time to I like had this idea that we would have like as extreme as a party, like, I'm gonna have a finance party where I tell you guys what's going on and where I need help. Like a little presentation with wine. Um,
It's like, this is why I'm struggling right now. Can you guys help me? Like,
this
I
is
do
why
not.
I was in debt. Here is my plan. We need to have frozen pizzas because I cannot go out, yeah, or whatever it is, right? Or a wealth building party, or
Yeah.
I want to like free up all
Yeah.
this feeling around it, and that community care. And so for me, that's what I like to do, is I like to be people's adventure buddy.
Mm, mm, mm,
If
mm.
they work with me, then we can do it together. And if I did it with a friend who's a financial coach, and I just told her that yesterday. It's like, thank you so much. And she's like, no, thank you. But because we're all doing it together. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, we're all doing this together. And honestly, I have no words because it's just like it feels so good. Like right now, just hearing your story and radical community care. It's like, yeah, I want help. I want a party like for just like help me. I need this right
Yeah,
now.
like,
So,
here's what's going on, and then we can have a second party where you're like, I say, I hit a goal, and then
yeah.
we'll celebrate you more. And I get it, like, when you do feel different and weird or isolated,
Hmm.
it's the next step is to feel disenfranchised from the systems. Like, I don't belong to, like, it feels like the financial system is against us,
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
it's not something easy to navigate, and especially alone. there's like no chance. You know, like we're all a lot of us are struggling right now, and it's just time to do it together. You're right. It's a radical community care item. I like that. I like this idea a lot.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Is everything good? Just one.
Everything's good. Just plug it in there. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of fun to hear that like you feel like, yeah, you're like, I feel totally weird.
Oh,
Um
I
so
don't. So
yeah, how isn't it funny? Because I like that you said, do you. It's this principle of live and let live, and stopping judgment of
yeah.
others, and allowing them to be weird.
Yeah. I think like sometimes I tap into that and lean into my weirdness and then just like be myself. But then also like for every upbringing that you have, child upbringing, there's
Mm.
always that voice is like, what are you doing? You were told not to do this. You're told not to be your weird self. It's kind of you need to be in this box. And so I yeah, that's why sometimes I can't even have any words to say for it.
Yeah, and there is times, right, that we
hmm
sometimes have to be in the box. And I still hear voices in my head saying, not voices, I
Yeah,
hear a
but like
voice in my head
yeah.
judging people for something that seems out of the ordinary, or something that
hmm
I'm not used to. It's okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay to just be yourself, to enjoy yourself. And yeah. Yeah. And also what I meant by voices is like my like other people, like people in my life,
Mm,
their their opinions. They
definitely.
sometimes their opinion gets stuck in your head. So their voice is in there and you're like, oh, I should
Definitely.
listen to them. Should listen to them because they know best. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. And
It's
so
real. It's I
yeah.
Some of my voices were from my family.
Mm-mm-mm.
You need a really good paying job. Like, this is the path. You need to be productive, a member of
Yeah.
society, and those voices are important to me.
Yeah.
And I also am just now a huge proponent of goofing off and being unproductive. And
Yeah.
I don't know, there's a state of aliveness in mastering being, the art of
Yeah.
being over the art of doing.
Yeah. Can you explain? Because I'm a little bit confused a bit. I know you were talking about it and think maybe I'm just jaded or I can't conceptualize it. Can you say like it's okay to be unproductive? And I know I can be unproductive, but I still can't understand the concept of unproductive because I mean I'm not productive all the time. I just like there are days like earlier today, I was like, I'm just gonna watch TV while I eat because that's all I want to do right now.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Yeah. One example that comes to mind, have you ever seen like a social media post that says, "Are you going to live your best life to 110% maximum today?" And live out your most outrageous, wildest dreams. Um,
oh, the living your life 100% all the
yeah,
time.
just all the time maxing out. If you're
Mm,
not
that sounds tiring.
I think society has a vibe that it's like, if you don't work 40 to 80 hours a week,
Mm,
are you even successful? Are you grinding? Are you hustling? Do you want to
mm.
be successful? If you want it, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This
Mm,
is like such a vibe here. And um at least where I come from, this idea of being successful
yeah,
is is notated by how much money you make, how successful and productive you are in the eyes of others, in the
yeah.
same. So I think for me, um I would call that the art of doing, where you
Mhm.
just do, you hustle. And I'm interested in the art of being, where you don't do anything. You listen to the wind and the trees, and maybe you're walking your dog,
Mm-mm.
and and you're not on your phone. There's just these arts, there's an art to it though.
Yeah.
Um
I see what you're
hey, I'm going to
doing.
turn my phone off and listen to what my thoughts are. Or I don't know, the one I always go back to is also just doing things backwards. I'm going to brush my teeth with my left hand today. Like, it's an art of being. Just like, what is this life? What's this? Like,
Like changing it up, changing it
yeah,
up.
it's a little bit of a curiosity, and I think it takes the pressure off of our value and worth as a human in this society, being from, like, the value is being alive. Like, how
Mhm.
silly, like, it's a silly example, but it's this feeling of aliveness
Yeah.
where it's not like, oh, I made this much money this year and now I'm worth something.
Yeah, it's like tying it to something else versus just like you are worthy already.
Yeah, I'm
You the
gonna
moment you took
go.
your first breath,
Yeah,
you're like,
I'm just
I'm
gonna like
amazing.
smell this coffee and wow, that's alive.
Yeah. I think what you were saying, like, just the art of being, it created a memory. Like just today, I walked my dog. I didn't have my phone. I was walking him, and then walking around our complex, and I was just talking with him a little bit, and then he was, trotting because he's an old man right now. And then
No.
the moment he just looked at me, he's like, and I was like, that memory of him just being happy while he's walking, I felt so much happiness
Oh,
from that. Like it's
oh
the
my gosh.
face of him because his life is ending soon. It's so sad. I don't have to go into that, but yeah, it's just like
Mm,
soaking in all these memories of him and also looking back. But like you said, it's the art of being
yeah,
just enjoying and just we're not sucking and like taking indulging all of this feelings I've had for him and
yes,
just seeing him so happy, even though he's struggling,
right.
suffering a little bit and here and there. Yeah, my heart is just like,
Oh, I know. I'm holding mine too. I can feel it. And that I actually I've worked with dogs a lot of my career. He's a super senior, right?
yes, he
He's in
is.
his
He's
golden
14.
years. Oh, bless him. I
Yeah.
just Your story is just moving. I can't believe that is it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And when we kind of know what brings us good feeling, that's kind of another layer of being your radical authentic self,
Yeah.
and then knowing what you're supposed to do with your time and day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
feel
that.
so calm already, just talking, like just briefly sharing you about my dog, and I was just like, so this is what the art of being is like. And like in the broader sense
Mm,
of it. Because you said like be feeling good is like another layer. I was like,
right,
oh yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Instead of just
Like,
doing. Yeah, 'cause like you said, like sometimes just doing could also you're just doing it. You're not really thinking and feeling
no.
within your body, like going outside. Like you said, mentioning earlier, like going outside, smelling the wind,
Yeah,
feeling the
touching a leaf.
grass. Yeah,
I know it sounds silly, but you're right. When you told
it's
that
not
story,
silly.
the energy just shifted. I mean,
Hmm.
I was in a different feeling space. It's a beautiful thing. And when I think about the way it relates to what I do, it's
Yeah,
I think about the idea of value. Values are a big part of the work I do.
yeah,
What are your values and how can we use those to get you what you want? And so I always call them value driven finances, because maybe you are somebody who is just, I'm gonna, we all want to feel productive too. We do
yeah,
want to be, in my mind, I want people to dream big and feel wild and free. And yeah, I think if you are in an overproductive state, it's hard, it's easier to waver away from what, like, those real moments.
yeah.
And I just love that a lot of our, I think your value, like in my mind, the value there is love with your, what's your dog's name?
My dog's name is Teddy.
Teddy.
He's
With
he
Teddy,
is
like this
he's
is a loving relationship, and like I want to honor loving relationships. And I just think that's so beautiful.
it's I can feel my my eyes all like no cry.
Yeah,
It's like
don't let it
no
out. I
cry.
know. I'll back off from it's just so beautiful. And
Thank you.
I just love it's like it's a totally authentic moment. Thank you for sharing that too. And
Of
I think that
course.
is it. There's a lot of pressure at from every direction.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
if we have to, obviously we kind of have to deal with adult things like money and work
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
career.
Yep.
And so let's do it together.
I know. We need to. We
Like
need to. And it's also
urgently.
it's not even a should, it's not even a could or it's like, yeah, we need it in order to thrive and to really there's that sense of like coming back to ourselves
Mhm.
too. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like a pea. I don't know why I feel like a pea, like a pea in a pod kind of feel.
Yeah.
That's like I feel just so calm. I'm just cozy now. So I just like I can't even like even though I'm with the host, I'm just like I can't generate
Yeah.
anything because I just feel so
Yeah.
calm about this. And
You brought us a peaceful moment too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
There is resolve in I just want maybe it's a feeling of resolve too. Like we know what we need to do,
mhm,
and we have like I think we have the same understanding of yeah, like I love what you said. We need to come back. We're coming back to ourselves, and there's so much of our pieces of ourselves that are all over all day. It's like we're on social media and it's just everything's so spread out.
yeah.
But just like coming back to here and your heart and knowing your values and who you are, it changes everything. And for me again, that was just loving how weird I am. And if I
Yeah.
want to wear my onesie to my choir practice, great. If I want to um yeah, like be unproductive, great. If I want to put unicorns as the central theme of my business, perfect. um so just just letting you be you. That's definitely the message in my mind.
Yeah, and then also what you mentioned, it's kind of like a full circle. Because like, as we were talking about in the beginning, it was like calling in your inner dragon,
Mm,
having that all that fiery things about you, and also just coming back to that. And that is just like one aspect of ourselves.
mm.
And then everything else comes in, and then eventually it's like, this is me. I can be calm
Yeah.
too. I love unicorns. I like wearing whatever I want to do. This is me, you know? And so, so many aspects of ourselves is, and just showing, like you mentioned, just show who you are. If you like doing certain things, that's okay. And then enjoy that. I love that. Like you said, being wild and free. I believe everyone should have that. And find your people in that too. It's
Mm.
because like instead like for each person it's not everyone's cup of tea and that's okay because but the right people will come in and just like hell yeah, let's go hang out. I like
Good
you. I like
point.
your spirit, like let's go do
Good
this.
point.
And so
I love that. There's definitely a moment where I feel like I've had, yeah, if you're gonna be your most dragony self, totally. Some people may not get it, and that's okay.
yeah.
So many more are, and you'll be so much happier with that. And yeah,
Yes.
I think that you're right. The dragon, she is so fiery and expressive, and also she sleeps in a mountainous cave.
Hmm.
And I mean, do you think the dragon ever doubts herself? No.
No, fuck no. Never.
So, I just love thinking of that idea, like living even, I'll bring it back to Teddy, your dog. Has Teddy ever had a moment of self-doubt?
Nah, I
No,
don't
Teddy
think so.
knows.
Yes,
So
he
I'm just
knows.
these are lessons and I'm just so excited to learn them.
Before for us, well, thank you, Wei, for just sharing everything and just sharing your knowledge and honestly just being you on this episode. It's amazing. I love it. And as we're segueing to the end now, what is like one takeaway that you would like to share with the audience?
Definitely. Thank you. My biggest takeaway for people is uh to get with your friends, get with your family, get with a coach, do anything you can to pair up with people, find community and get and do it together. So for me that's finances. Please tell a friend what you need help with. Please tell a family member. Think of a coach. It's time to do this not alone, but to do this together.
Yeah, thank you. That was, yes. It's always like not that you don't have to be alone. Just reach out, ask
Yeah.
for help. I think that's what it is too.
Yeah.
Just like reach out to people around you and
And
thank
if
you
you
for
feel
sharing that.
isolated, so does everyone else. Like oh, let's do it together, Tina. Yes.
Yeah, we definitely need to do it together. Definitely. Thank you, Wave. Just for being here and joining with us. The conversation was amazing. And so thank you everyone just for listening in and just being here. And if you enjoy the conversation, please leave a review wherever you're listening and look out for new episodes every Tuesday on the Courageous Inner Beast. Thank you for listening in. If you enjoyed this conversation and would like to know more about Wave Melén, please look in the description for more information and for the links.